Halftime at 2 sites, action at 2 other sites. The ultimate tournament update coming right up.
CBS Sports presents Pennzoil at the Half, sponsored by Pennzoil, specially formulated for today's stop-and-go driving. Stop, go, Pennzoil.
Hi, everyone. Welcome once again to Pennzoil at the Half. I'm Greg Gumbel, along with Clark Kellogg. We are at halftime of a couple of games. First of all, in Winston-Salem, Florida with a 40-34 lead on Illinois. You heard Billy Donovan say that they played pretty good defense. The question is, can you keep up that kind of defense against Illinois?
Well, these two teams are so evenly matched, Greg. They're very, very similar. They're deep, they're athletic, they shoot the three, they play defense. It's going to come down to which team can control those areas that dictate games. Rebounding, turnovers, and obviously that three-point shot is a major weapon on both sides of the ball.
It's also halftime in Buffalo, where Seton Hall owns a 2-point lead on Temple at 31-29. The injury to point guard Shaheen Holloway has had the opposite effect, as we so often see it sometimes.
It certainly has had that effect. Shine is a guy who can shoot the three-point shot. He's come off the bench and made a bunch of threes. I think he's made 3, and the three-point shot is the reason that Seton Hall is on top in this game, and that's the one thing that can negate dominance by the opposition in all other areas is that three-point shot.
The latest report on Shaheen Holloway is that he has been taken to the hospital for x-rays on the ankle that he injured late in the first half. We'll keep you updated. Meanwhile, in the South region, Birmingham, Alabama, North Carolina had a 1-point lead on Stanford at halftime. It's now 2, 13:50 to play in the second half. Let's send you out there live and join Dick Enberg and James Worthy.
Tenacious fight here in the South region in Birmingham, and underdog North Carolina with Ed Cota at the line has taken a 3-point lead, 39-36. Stanford led by as many as 8 late in the first half. A 14-0 run, 8 straight points at the end of the first half, 6 in a row to start the second half. Vaulted Carolina in front, but Stanford rallying from 7 down themselves to tie at 36, and now Cota has given North Carolina with that free throw a 39-36 lead.
And in the first half, Cota was unable to penetrate inside. They started to let Forte handle the basketball a little bit more, and that's loosened up Cota somewhat. He's been able to come off some of the curls and some of the picks of Chris Lang and Brendan Haywood.
6 points now for Cota. Tony Giovacchini, left-hander, now at point guard along with Ryan Mendez. This Mendez with the ball usually comes in, scores quickly. Mosley trying to get inside against Forte. Jaron Collins, one of the big twins for Stanford, and Haywood up high to swat it away. Mendez for 3, and he hits again. My, oh my, can he shoot from outside.
And he has been a mini microwave here this afternoon. 10 points off the bench, and as soon as he comes in, he's effective. Big game player when Stanford needs some offense. They go to Mendez.
Julius Peppers outside, the 6'7" defensive end star freshman football player at Carolina. Haywood back to Lang. Lang is bumped into by Collins. No whistle. And back comes Giovacchini for Stanford, and the Cardinal with a chance to get back on top.
I'll tell you, the beef is sizzling in the paint.
Peppers, quick hands. That's like a sack for Peppers, and he holds his man down as Cota comes the other way, and he is fouled. Fans wanted a flagrant foul. It is not. It's the first on David Mosley.
Well, Peppers, if you take a look on your right side of your screen, you're going to see Peppers doing a little bit of football there. Look at the dive, little body block, roll over, and Cota comes over and get it. And
You're not going anywhere, he says to Giovacchini.
So North Carolina continues to lead. Stanford will keep track of that game. Meanwhile, at the South region in Nashville, Tulsa led Cincinnati at halftime 31-24. It is now a 34-32 lead. We'll take you there live in a moment after we take a timeout here on Pennzoil at the Half. We'll come right back.
Carter, where it was a much easier assist.
Just think if they were still in school at Carolina.
Oh my gosh.
41-39. North Carolina leading #1 seed Stanford. Mendez, he's drawing respect, so they come off Mendez, and that sets up Collins with an easy 2. Jaron Collins has 4.
Well, anytime Mendez has the ball, all eyes are focused on him, and that gives Collins the ability to slip by Haywood.
Forte driving up the lane. Mosley able to save to Matson. Giovacchini brings it in. Tie game at 41. Under 12 to play. Collins with Haywood. Knocked away. And saved by Peppers. Boy, is he strong in there. What hands.
Well, when he gets his hands on the ball, you might as well get back on defense because you're not getting it away from him.
Forte into Lang. There's that patented jump hook, and Chris Lang gives Carolina the 2-point lead with his 10th point of the game.
And whatever pain that was in his chest, I hope it, it's something that he can build on, and because he's really been effective here in the second half.
Bikini to Mendez. You got Peppers now on Mendez trying to slow him down. Collins inside with Haywood. Joe Bikini, a rare shot, partially blocked by Cota, but Mendez there for another offensive second chance. Cardinal, if they should win this game, that's going to be key. Their ability to get offensive rebounds.
And the Tar Heels have done a good job of taking Collins and matching out, but it's been Mosley and Mendez the ones that are getting the offensive boards.
Timeout, North Carolina. The Tar Heels with a 43-41 lead. Chris Lang stars.
Tulsa.
Everyone, they're almost halfway through the second half, and Birmingham and North Carolina owns a 2-point lead on Stanford, 43-41. In Nashville, Tulsa with a 34-32 lead on the Bearcats of Cincinnati, 15:55 to play in the second half. Let's take you live to the Gaylord Entertainment Center in Nashville and join Tim Brando and Rolando Blackman.
He's 6'5", but Tulsa's lead down to 2. They led by 16 in the opening half of this game. Coley and Michael, the leaders of their respective teams, taking charge in this game. Brandon Kurtz can't hit. Pete Michael right on cue. Hauls down another rebound, his 7th. Ryan Fletcher, who got 2 early fouls, has really never gotten into the flow of this game. Loses it out of bounds, and it belongs to Tulsa.
But it's an advantage also now to Cincinnati because they do have him in the game, an opportunity to go down low and utilize his talent. But they've done a good job by setting the pace now defensively and getting themselves emotionally into this game.
Marcus Hill playing with 3. Tony Hurd with the dump down to Dennis Shelton. Shelton stays with it. Wave it off the foul prior to the putback against Michael. Hurd and Shelton very active as you look at our bracket here in Nashville. The winner of this game will move on to take on the winner of our second game this afternoon between Miami and Ohio State. And it's interesting, both Tulsa and Miami, 2 teams that if they're to make that next step to get to a Sweet 16, they'll have to do it with defense.
Tim Brando will keep you updated on Tulsa, Cincinnati. Earlier today in Buffalo, Oklahoma State advanced with a victory over Pepperdine. 75-67 was the final score there. Coming up later on today here on CBS. Out of the South, Miami, Ohio State, UConn, Tennessee. Out of the East, Kansas will take on the top seed in the East, the Duke Blue Devils. Thanks for joining us here on Pennzoil at the half. Second halves of games in Buffalo and Winston-Salem right after this.
Pennzoil at the half has been sponsored by Pennzoil, specially formulated for today's stop-and-go driving. Stop, go, Pennzoil.
Winner in the first-round victory over Oregon. In the first half, you see that left ankle roll over, and Holloway has been taken to a local hospital. Ty Shine stepping in to replace him at the point.
And isn't it interesting and ironic that it was the same type of drive he had to win a game? That's how Shaheen Holloway plays the game, just up and down, loves to drive, and it's just an unfortunate story for Seton Hall to this point. He had to be out of this basketball game.
He's a dynamo. He's Mr. Energy for this Pirate team, but Ty Shine has really picked things up. Ball knocked around, caught Canis. Off the penetration, Morton gives it. Shine hot in the first half and comes out strong in the second half with a 3.
I will tell you one thing in this building, it's a mixed crowd, but if Ty Shine keeps lifting Seton Hall as he has been, a lot of people will start to support the underdog in this building.
Sanchez feeds the post, Karcher fading away, and it rims out. Barnes able to grab it. Blocked away by Dellenbear, but a foul call. That'll be number 3 if they give it to Dellenbear.
And a little while set to start things off, but look at Ty Shine wide open again. just snapping it through. He's in a different type of zone.
Samuel Dellenbeer is called on his third foul. Seton Hall on a 9-0 run. And Barnes cannot take advantage at the free throw line.
And Tommy Amaker does one thing very, very well, among other things, with the Seton Hall Pirates, but he controls tempo of a basketball game very well. Last year against UConn, their up and down style, he really took the air out of the basketball also, so he knows how to control some tempo.
Barnes missing on the second. Temple gets it back. Karcher can't hit the three. And Temple comes up with another offensive rebound. Inside, Barnes with possession. Got Dellenbeer in the air and lays it through in traffic.
Good, smart basketball from Temple, though. They understand Dellenbeer's foul troubles right now, so just keep going at him. Try to get him on the bench. That's why Tommy Amaker is going to go to a substitution in a moment.
Pirates lead by 3. Kalkanis pull-up. High arcing delivery, rebounded by Love. There's Wadley handing over for Sanchez. Little two-man game. Three-pointer. Off the back of the iron, Morton has the board for the Pirates.
Good boxing out by Morton. Dellenbeer.
Shine with a stop and go. Gives it up for Morton because Sanchez was there to hinder him. The runner, Ty Shine, is unconscious.
He sure is, and he is playing smart basketball. Sanchez stopped his first attempt, and then he got the basketball back and made an action play.
Inside, Karcher has it rim out. Karcher again, and Dellenbeer will pick up his fourth.
That's just the youngster's mistake right there. Tommy Amaker has Charles Manga waiting at the scorer's table, and watch the right arm come down and across. See, Dellenbeer has to understand in that situation. And once again, he's a youngster. 2 points there are not as damaging as a fourth foul is.
Samuel Dellenbeer, a freshman from Port-au-Prince, Haiti, and a damaging foul as Dellenbeer will go to the bench at the 18:03 mark of the second half. Write that number down, because who knows when you're going to see him again with 4 personals.
And it's not because Tommy Amaker wasn't thinking in that direction also, because he had a sub at the scorer's table. Charles Manga just couldn't get a whistle to get him on the floor.
Temple now 3 of 8 from the free throw line, and Seton Hall's lead is 4. It is Manga stepping in for Dellenbeer.
He won't give them the presence defensively underneath the basket that Dellenbeer does.
Lane swings it. In between hop for Morton. Out of bounds.
As important as each possession is, we've talked about it, and Tommy Amaker knows it as well as anyone. Both him and John Chaney understand the importance of possessions in a slow-down type of game, and this is going to be one of them, where every possession is going to make a difference.
The 12th Pirate turnover. Here's Sanchez with a stop and go, swings it out. Barnes, a pump fake, jumper rims out. Morton knocks it to the outside, and controlled by the Owls.
With Manga contesting that shot, the Pirates were very small under the basket.
Dump down, Barnes, side rim. Lied on the interior.
And they keep getting bigger and bigger. Lied that time. You just can't root him out of there.
Sanchez thought about it for 3. Shine leaves his feet. Barnes swings it to the other side. Wadley a 3.
Again, the patience for Temple. Seton Hall just working too hard just then, giving up a third opportunity. If you give guys like Temple players the opportunity to knock them down on 3 tries, you're in trouble.
Quincy Wadley has 10. Seton Hall leads by 1. Here's Shine to set things up. Guarded by Sanchez. Morton, the freshman, gives it up for Lane. Ball knocked away. Lane goes to the floor, trying to call a timeout, but they'll call a tie-up. And possession arrow favors Temple.
Tommy Amaker wanted a timeout on that fall. Here's the shot down low, the rebounding on the offensive end. All of a sudden, you have big, strong guys going after it. And what happens, the result? You kick one out on the outside, and Wadley buries a 3.
I think John Chaney had something to say about the rebounding totals from the first half.
6 offensive rebounds off the glass so far early on here.
Here's Wadley, a 3-pointer. Same spot and the same result.
How about Sanchez, too? Baiting Seton Hall, thinking he was going to shoot the ball. You have to understand personnel. Sanchez is the guy you want shooting that ball.
A 7-0 Temple run. Shine off penetration, and he got tripped up by Wadley.
And Sanchez, you see, he gets defender up in the air, kick back, and now you have a good, clean look at it. Seton Hall has to make an adjustment on that one in terms of staying down and forcing Sanchez to shoot that basketball.
13 points for Wadley, his first personal foul. Kalkanis out on the sideline, turns the corner. Lane with a pump fake. Trying to dish it off. Wilkins just checked into the game.
Right now it's Kalkanis, Shine, and Lane who are the scorers on the floor right now for Seton Hall.
Menga and Wilkins, complementary players. Kalkanis across the lane with a hook, and it rims in.
Is that ever a tough shot? Kalkanis is the guts of this team, though. He will go after you. He will keep the energy level up.
10 points for Remus Kalkanis.
Better attack right there. Notice Wilkins did not leave his feet again.
Sanchez behind the back to Lyde, looking to break the tie. Lyde, the leaner, rebounded by Wilkins. And Shine quickly up the floor. Finds the open man. Kalkanis a three.
All the result of Sanchez cheating and going for a steal in the backcourt. The Owls not getting back quick enough. All of a sudden, this Seton Hall team is forgetting about Shaheen Holloway, which is the way to approach this second half, and just concentrating on the game at hand.
Sanchez, an uncharacteristic three.
That's why you want him shooting the basketball from there. About a 35% shooter, but he's less dangerous.
Seton Hall up 41-38. Shine trying to dribble out of trouble, and Parcher fouls him near the midcourt line. 14:41 to play in the second half. And a timeout. Seton Hall leading number 2 seed Temple here in the East by 3.
Foul spotted prior to Fletcher's move to the hoop.
That's excellent interior movement, though. Pete Michael goes one-on-one, and you know what? Fletcher just doesn't stand there. Yeah. He cuts to the basket. He's able to find him, and with his power inside, he's able to get an opportunity for his team.
A lot more basketball to come. Miami and Ohio State here. UConn and Tennessee. A lot of fans in Nashville waiting for that one. Plenty on the menu. 7 hours of NCAA tournament play on CBS today. Oh, Cincinnati can't believe there wasn't a whistle. Out of bounds to the Bearcats as Coley on the seat of his pants was on the inline.
Satterfield goes right to the basket, and Pete Michael comes down with it, ball fakes, and then goes on up. But Coley does do a great job, though, by putting his hand right on the ball.
I tell you, it was pretty clean.
Very clean.
Yeah, I think the Cincinnati bench obviously begging for that one. That was a good no call. Bobby Huggins never been above begging.
I'm telling you, especially when there's an affray in there, Joe. But it's a good call by the official on that play.
Satterfield, double team. A lot of weak side help in this Tulsa defense. Michael, the turnaround in the paint. Well, we talked of the premium players stepping up at this time in the game.
Because they have the excellent skill. Pete Michael is a supreme one-on-one player and an excellent defensive player. Plus, he is the team leader. Kenyon Martin is not here. Someone has to take over, and especially with Michael having all the skills necessary.
Nice, strong move. Shelton again doing it to the guys from his hometown. You know, in the offseason, both AAU play and, of course, even while in college, he would play on the schoolyards, little pickup action, blacktop basketball with a lot of the Bearcats.
Yeah, this is when you get with your buddies, though. You understand these guys, you played with them, and especially when you play against them, hey, you want to beat them.
Fletcher. 9 in the game for Fletcher, who was saddled with early foul trouble. Now beginning to get his game in sync.
That's what we're talking about, the versatility of Fletcher, though, down in the low post, and can also come out, as you just saw, be able to hit that three.
By the way, you see that Seton Hall score. Shaheen Holloway was hurt, carried off the floor in that game. The x-rays, we're told, were negative. He is en route back to the site, but will no longer be a part of the game against Temple Owls. There's a rejection by the Bearcats.
Excellent play by DeMar Johnson.
Fletcher. And the foul against David Shelton. And the Tulsa crowd reacting because it was a bit late. There was contact, but the whistle from the trail official was a second or so late.
Oh yeah, there was nice body contact right there, but Cincinnati playing the great help defense. Right there as Kurtz gets a good position on tape. DeMar Johnson comes on over, makes the block, and look, being able to be aggressive, coming right up the court as Fletcher leaks out. Takes the contact a little bit from Shelton. There's a little bit of body contact, but good job by Fletcher to be aggressive going toward the hoop.
There's no question. You see Shelton checking out. Coley coming back in along with Harrington. He's playing with 4. Marcus Hill is also back in the game. He has 3 fouls. Ryan Fletcher, more than any other Bearcats player, takes the heat from Bob Huggins. And I asked Ryan about it. He said, well, you know, I knew coming in what to expect. I'm one of those guys that wants to be ridden by my coach. Well, saddle up, Ryan. Bobby is going to be on top of you. He only had 2 points in the first half. Ryan Fletcher has 9 so far in the first 12 minutes of the second half.
But he's one of those players, including the rest of the Cincinnati players, that can step up, though, because he has the talent.
Hill had an open shot. Was looking at the hoop and lost the handle. Here's Coley. Over to Swanson. Swanson has 12.
Talking about great teamwork, good ball movement right there, all by Coley also, though.
Logan, pretty good move. Coley deflected it. Save to DeMar Johnson. Donald Little very active. He gets the save, but the iron unkind. Coley brings it down, his 13th rebound.
You say he's 6'5", but he plays just like he's 7 foot.
For the lead, Hill. 51-50. First basket for Marcus Hill, and it's a tray.
And you know that feels sweet to Hill, who's been struggling on his shot. Not hitting him at the same pace as he did the other day against UNLV. A
steal by Harrington. He challenges the taller Bearcats. And the young man that's been saddled with 4 fouls gets his first deuce. So Hill and Harrington, their first baskets could not have come at a more opportune time for the Golden Hurricane.
That was a beautiful play by Harrington, though, eyeing the big man and being able to get to the basket.
Hill, good position in front of Michael. Swanson! Oh, he is an easy bake microwave oven.
Transition defense now. The Bearcats have to make sure that once they do make a turnover or there's a missed shot, to be able to place themselves back on defense.
10-0 run for Tulsa, and again, they do it so quickly. Cincinnati had seized control of the first 7 minutes of this second half.
But realize, Tim, they have not been able to go up against the trapping defense of Cincinnati. They've had the opportunity now to get nice shots.
In the last 2 minutes, Tulsa has taken a 7-point lead on a 12-2 run. Timeout, Cincinnati.
Haywood has it go through his hands and picked off by Michael McDonald, the point guard for Stanford.
Well, you can't take the ball down in the middle of the floor. That's a no-no. That's trapped all the way, and that's exactly what forced a turnover for Forte.
Collins had it right in his hands and fumbled it back to North Carolina.
That's what it'll be all about. It'll be about turning the ball over, protecting it, and who can get to the line and knock down the free throws here in the last minute, 15 seconds.
Jacobson and Capel down to 15 seconds on the clock, and if Carolina works it just the way they want to, there'll be less than a minute remaining before they shoot. They don't have to, as the foul committed by Jacobson, his first, and that will send the freshman Forte to the line. He's had a couple of big threes on the rally here late for North Carolina, and Bill Guthridge wants a timeout on the Tar Heel bench. 1:05 left in the second half. Carolina by 4.
how empty it seems with only my dreams.
Introducing the 3.2 CL from Acura.
As we check our game reset here with North Carolina leading and 65 seconds left. Team fouls both at 6, so fouls from now on will send players to the line. 4 timeouts left for Stanford. Now Stanford led at 47-43 with more than 8 minutes to go, but since that time they've scored but 2 points with 10 Carolina points to give the Tar Heels the lead, 53-49.
And you're going to see the defensive pressure pick up quite a bit.
Cota
Stanford
respecting the chance at a block and the foul, and that will send Ed Cota to the line. Clock stopped with 1:02 left in the game. Foul is on Michael McDonald, his third.
Free throws become very important along with the possession area, which now stands in Carolina's favor, but keeping the ball in Ed Cota's hands, letting him create, and having your good foul shooters handle the ball critical down the stretch.
3 for 4 today is Ed Cota. Oh, that's a big miss on the front end of a 1-and-1. Stanford the other way, down by 4. Less than a minute to play.
Looking for Jacobson and Mosley.
Jacobson for 3. It's not there, and Haywood is. And foul. I believe Jacobson after the miss came in, although Matson is raising his hand. If it's Matson, it's his third.
Well, Stanford got the look they want. If Carolina's going to stop that, they're going to have to switch on McDonald, Mosley, and Jacobson, regardless of the size, to take away the open 3-point shot.
Haywood, as he steps to the line, the big 7-footer, his free throw percentage just under 63%. Missed his only attempt today.
Well, you got to knock these down in this time. 49 seconds, crunch time.
54-49. The #1 seed Stanford, the 2 number 1s from the West. Arizona defeated yesterday in the second round, and now Stanford facing possible elimination. North Carolina by 6. It'll take a pair of 3s now for Stanford.
Got to switch on Mosley and Jacobson. Can't give them the open ones.
Mosley can't hit it. Kept alive by Mendez. He's a good 3-point shooter. And Peppers, the bulky defensive end, throws down Mendez.
Mendez has been the most active player for Stanford today. As a guard, he's been on the offensive boards, hit some big shots, got a big key rebound, and he's going to the sideline because he may have drawn a little blood. I'm not sure. He's checking the nose. Large contact, maybe.
Appears to be the case. Mendez with a shooter's eye, that's for certain, came off the bench and hit his first 2 shots in the first half. Has not been to the free throw line today. He was 4 for 4 in the Friday night win against South Carolina State. Let's go back to the contact on the foul.
Well, if anybody's going to hit you, you don't want Julius Peppers, 270 pounds, coming down on you. And that was didn't look like much, but look at the chest and the shoulders on Peppers, and that's painful even from where I'm sitting.
Yeah, the quarterbacks around the Atlantic Coast Conference will attest that was just a little baby pat from Peppers the way he attacks. He has played a key role in the 2 wins, if they are 2, for North Carolina. As he's come off the bench, this is a team that is short on depth. Peppers joining after the football season. Bill Guthridge basically has gone with 7 men in both games of this South region, and Peppers, perhaps the unknown, that has given more than Guthridge and the Carolina fans might have expected.
Well, when Chris Lang went down, Peppers wanted to play basketball. He walked on to the UNC basketball team, and unexpectedly has been the gem for Coach Guthridge. He's a good defensive player, great body, and the ability to defend on the post, meaning he can push bigger players away from the basket, making them put it on the floor. So very instrumental has been Peppers.
Mendez Cooley drops in the first free throw. It's 55-50. And timeout is called with 37.4 seconds left. #1 seed Stanford deep in trouble, down by 5.
On the drive, and he'll go to the free throw line for 2.
Putting the ball on the floor is the key for Seton Hall. I think they really have to make things happen, and Caucanis is one of those gutsy.
See the inside numbers picking up, but they've lost control of the perimeter defense that they had early. When they were chasing Tulsa's smaller guards, it really created havoc. They've gotten away from that.
I agree with you totally. Anytime that Cincinnati was able to go to the trap, denying Tulsa the ability to execute, it made it a lot better for Cincinnati.
It's not Cincinnati's style, but right now it's been a substantial Tulsa game. Up by 5.
Here in Birmingham, it's Ryan Mendez of Stanford, down 55-50. He hits the second free throw, 55-51. North Carolina trying to pull the upset, beat the #1 seed. Here in the South, there's 37.4 seconds remaining, and North Carolina leads by 4.
Mike Montgomery took that timeout to set up this press and also to realize who to foul on the court. They don't want much time to lead the clock, 35 seconds.
And they may have fouled the wrong man, at least statistically. Capel is the best free throw shooter on the season for North Carolina, hitting over 83%. He's not been to the line today, however. This 6'8" sophomore from Chesapeake, Maryland, with a 4-point lead, a 1-1. Both teams in the 1-1. Stanford's next foul will give Carolina 2 shots.
35 seconds, a lot of time for Stanford. They can put it up quick. Mosley, Jacobson outside, 2 threes. Very explosive.
Shooters roll. It's 56-51 as Mark Manson returns and Jaron Collins out for Stanford. Only 3 points for the co-captain of the Stanford Cardinal and their leader. Capel, the son of a coach, his dad coaches at Old Dominion, makes it a 2-possession, 2 3-point game for Stanford. Stanford with 1 field goal in the last 7.5 minutes. They go inside to Matson and get the conceded 2 and quickly call timeout. 26.7 seconds remain. North Carolina by 4.
Tulsa leads by 5, 61-56. The CBS Sportsline stat of the game, and it's particularly significant now. No timeouts remaining for Cincinnati after that decision by Fletcher. In addition, 21 points off turnovers for Tulsa. Cincinnati getting beat at their own game today.
Well, there are going to be a lot of dead balls, free throws, and times of
Greg Gumbel in New York. Top seed Stanford in the South in trouble against North Carolina. Let's take you live to Birmingham, Alabama.
Third on the floor with Harrington. Swanson.
And here they are, 26.7 seconds away from knocking out the #1 seed Stanford Cardinal. They lead 57-53. Stanford has never beaten North Carolina in 8 previous games. Peppers gets it in, and the immediate foul on the freshman Joseph Forte as Mendez stops the clock. Just a half-second use, his second foul.
Well, Carolina really spreading the floor almost in a box in order to break the pressure, thinking that Forte and Cota can outquick their men to get open. Take a look at the Stanford bench right now. A little bit concerned with only 26 seconds left, knowing that they have to foul and depend on Carolina missing free throws from here on out.
This talented freshman Forte. He's a 74% free throw shooter. Misses that one is Chris Lang and the Carolina bench with their deepest hopes riding with Forte. He gets 1 out of 2. 5-point lead.
A little light pressure added by Carolina. Not to give up the easy, but here comes Mosley.
McDonald to Mosley. He goes for the 3, and it's partially blocked, and Haywood gets it in the foul immediately by Stanford that stops the clock at 16.3, and North Carolina goes to the other end with a 5-point lead. Mark Manson with his 4th foul, and things have grown to a desperate stage for the men from Stanford. as North Carolina, 8th seed. And a couple of years ago, they went into the tournament in the same manner. Actually, 10 years ago when they were the 8th seed. That's the worst seed they've had in 10 years. Repeating this year, they did defeat Oklahoma in the second round, and Oklahoma was #1. First one is missed by Haywood.
Carolina's done a better job. I think one of the key factors is that they did not allow Stanford to get the offensive boards that they got in the first half. Hayward misses the second.
5-point game. Hurrying into the offensive end is McDonald. Jacobson from about 35 feet away. And the rebound, Carolina, solo Forte, and that should do it. Forte slam will send North Carolina into the Sweet 16. It's over. A big upset in Birmingham. The North Carolina Tar Heels win it 60-53. A stunning defeat for the Stanford Cardinal, the #1 seed from the West, sent here to the South. The #1 seed in the West, Arizona. So the two Pac-10 powerhouses have been KO'd in the second round of this NCAA tournament. The perennial power from the ACC, North Carolina, flexes its muscles again. What an upset. The Chevrolet players of the game, Brendan Haywood, 12 points and 8 rebounds, but he played tough the entire game at both ends. David Mosley, most of his points early, 17 points and 8 rebounds. But Carolina's defense shutting out Stanford down the stretch as the Cardinals turn cold in the final 8 minutes of the game. And so North Carolina has advanced. They've assured their position in the Sweet 16 and will meet the winner of the University of Connecticut-Tennessee game that will follow here from Birmingham. Oh my! And that's it from Birmingham in the first game. The victory for the North Carolina Tar Heels. Will return later for game 2.
Job, though, as you know, Tim, by being able to trap the basketball and not allow Tulsa to control the tempo on the offensive end.
Here they are.
Doing now.
Yep, and Harrington forced to take a timeout. Good call, Rolando. Coach Blackman telling you the story.
They'll circle the perimeter. Now it's Sanchez defending it.
Well, when you dribble into a different area, a new guy picks you up in the man-to-man fashion. So here it is with Greer.
Shine. Leaning jump shot way off. Battle for the loose ball. It's free, and it's claimed by Temple. Wadley picks it up.
Bad shots that come off hard generally is an advantage for the offensive rebounders because the defenders just can't sense where it's coming off. But Temple doing a nice job of corralling that one.
Greer on a pump fake. Greer, the leaner, air ball. But Lloyd able to save. Karcher a 3. And rebounded by Morton. Quick outlet for Caucanis. Manga running the floor well, and Caucanis is fouled by Pepe Sanchez, #2.
4, and Harrington also with 4. But constant pressure, constant pressure. Once that ball gets into the corners, though, it'll be good for Cincinnati to trap that ball.
Harrington a leaner. How special has he been in the second half? Every basket a big one. He had 4 fouls. He'd only played 4 minutes prior to this run that came 8 minutes ago by Tulsa when he and Marcus Hill came back on the floor. Eric Coley pulls down his 15th rebound of this game. Already a double-double, leading by 7 against the second-seeded Bearcats, 63-56. Hurd.
Oh, just a tremendous play by Hurd. Understood what was happening on the left side, saw that Fletcher's head was turned, and went right to the cup.
Satterfield fouled prior to the shot, so they'll wave it off as he split the double team. Tony Hurd picks up his 4th foul. Game reset, suggesting to you that Cincinnati must foul. Ryan Fletcher took a timeout with 4:25 remaining. It was the last one that Bob Huggins had. The winner of this game would advance to meet the winner of Miami and Ohio State. A matchup that we have later today here in Nashville, Tennessee.
Have to make it a free throw shooting contest as soon as the ball is placed inside, though. Got to get it off the trap or steal quickly or go after the ball, but they've got to foul right away. Can't waste time now.
Not a seat to be had here at the Gaylord Entertainment Center. Packed to capacity for this matchup. Bearcats trying to get it done without the player of the year, Kenyon Martin. Tulsa trying to make a statement, and Kenyon, who was wiping tears from his brow both today as well as in the opening round, constantly coaching. Another member of the Huggins staff for this NCAA tournament.
Yeah, you know he's got to be hurting, though, on the sideline there as his team's going down, knowing he could be out here having an opportunity to help.
Hill running the baseline, finds Harrington. Dogged by Satterfield. It appears as if they'll play straight up again.
You got to be able to stop the ball, though. You got to be able to stop the time.
Well, I'm amazed that they waited as long as they did. I mean, they allowed the ball to be brought up court. 11 seconds off the clock before the foul.
Once the initial play is in bounds and you don't get the steal right there, you've got to be able to stop the clock and take your chances with the free throw shooter.
At a certain point, you just got to go ahead and pick up the foul and hope for the best. And in this case, when you have a foul to give, I mean, you've got a foul in a hurry.
Quickly, as soon as the ball is placed in bounds. You go for that steal first. Try to get that ball, but once you don't get it.
Harrington shoots 81% from the floor. Hill shoots 61%. That's why he's triggering in the inbounds pass. And it's David Shelton who is fouled, 77% free throw shooter. And look at that, second round losses for this Bearcats team continuing to be a problem.
They've come in here with a lot of pressure, though, and playing against also a super talented team, very versatile team where all the players can get out there and do a great job with the ball and defensively.
Now, this was the missing piece to the puzzle for Tulsa this year. David Shelton from Cincinnati, Ohio, trying to stick a dagger to the guys from his hometown. Wanted to play for the Bearcats, and in fact, Bob Huggins got him into Independence Community College. But with players like Martin, Stokes, Little, Grove, Tate, too much front court talent. And he got caught in a numbers game and wound up in the state of Oklahoma in the city of Tulsa.
Bill Self is happy about that.
I'll say. He has 14. Brandon Kurtz comes in for it. The lead is 9. The Bearcats need them in bunches.
Satterfield has to make a move quickly, though, off the play.
Coley with the defensive help and the takeaway. This team can play keep away. They're so quick on the floor, and that's what Bill Self wants. Hard to catch up in order to foul these guys. Finally, Satterfield does with 25 ticks left, and they can feel it.
Gives it away. He was looking for Wilkins.
See Wilkins out there with Menger, not really in comfortable territory for the Seton Hall Pirates.
Timeout. 50 apiece, 4:28 remaining, second half.
Tulsa, one of those teams, even Bill Self would admit it, they don't get the national attention unless they get to the Sweet 16, and they've had their opportunities in the past. They're punching a ticket and awaiting the winner of Miami and Ohio State yet to come. Tubby Smith got them there in 94 and 95. They're headed back. Another deflection by Coley.
He's just a tremendously active player. He goes after the basketball as if he's a taller player. He waits until they shoot and still gets the blocks.
Ask him who his idol is. He'd tell you Larry Mahan, the outstanding cowboy. Loves to calf rope. He's roped up Cincinnati for sure. Satterfield knocks down a tray. 69-61 and a reach-in foul of Harrington by Michael.
So the Pirates forced to hit their outside shots. They don't have their main penetrator in there, so Ty Shine comes in. And what a job he's done.
Absolutely, and one of the things on paper, if you were Seton Hall coming into this game, You would really just want to get it close, keep it close for as long as possible. Temple, on the other hand, obviously wanted to stretch out the lead that they had earlier in this game, but now it's anyone's game.
Away from the ball, Shine was trying to guard Greer, who was serving.
It is a terrible blow, though, for Cincinnati as they've gone through the season, have had such a fantastic season, putting everything together in the conference, 16-0, coming through and losing Kenyon Martin against St. Louis in the tournament.
Greg Harrington, a lot of teams wanted him. One of the best point guards in the state of Texas coming out. He was a prize recruit for Tulsa. Satterfield not there. Coley, length of the floor. They're headed back to the Sweet 16 for the third time in 6 years. The Tulsa Golden Hurricane. Our Chevrolet most valuable players, Eric Coley, a double-double, and Pete Michael, 16 and 11 for Cincinnati. So for Rolando Blackman and Jimmy Dykes, Tim Brando saying so long from the Gaylord Entertainment Center, where Tulsa advances. This has been a presentation of CBS Sports. Back to New York in a moment.
The play. Here's Greer, picked up by Shine.
You have to remember where the shooters are. You must find the shooters if you're Seton Hall playing defense. Here's one right here, Greer.
Sanchez, a three. Front rim, and Greer with the offensive rebound. He's fouled by Morton. 9th team foul on Seton Hall, and another 1-and-1 for Temple as Morton picks up his 3rd personal.
Solid play, too, by Greer just then. The long shots generally kick out long. Perfectly timed. Right call again from the officials, who are doing a very good job this afternoon.
Cincinnati, a number 2 seed, has been knocked off by Tulsa. While the top seeds across the country in some trouble. 2 number 1s.
Don't tell that to Temple right now.
2 number 2s, and here's a 3rd number 2 currently on the floor with a 1-point lead. Greer, 1 out of 2. Dellenbear with the rebound. Coming up on 3 minutes to play. Seton Hall trailing by 1.
Selection decision so important right now. See, Morton's not looking to score.
Or is he? Morton able to hold on to it. Paukanis on the outside. Sanchez took a shot. Dellenbear lays it home.
Morton only scores 4 points a game, so he's not looking. He's got the shoulder problem with Dellenbear with the little slice cut to get a layup.
First 2 of the game for Samuel Dellenbear, and it's a big bucket.
2.5 to play in Buffalo. Let's take you to Iron Eagle and Jim Spanaka.
2:26 to play in the second half. Temple leading Seton Hall 54-52. The number 2 seed taking the 2-point lead on a 3-pointer from Lynn Greer.
It's been a grunt and a grind for Seton Hall. Injuries to Shaheen Holloway, foul trouble for Dellenbear. They've somehow hung around, but Temple coming back with the long ball again. They've been on and off with it all afternoon.
Count it down to the 2-minute mark, second half. Another close game for Seton Hall. They squeezed through the first round with a victory over Oregon. Shot clock is winding down. Shine forced to put it up. Wow, and it rims off. Lane is fouled by Sanchez. Quincy Wadley was in the area as well. Temple converging.
I think they'll get Wadley too as the second guy in, but Sanchez right on the play also. Ty Shine with an afternoon of his career so far for Seton Hall, nearly and very nearly put that shot down in a heave.
Darius Lane, 9 points, 12 rebounds in his first trip to the free throw line with his team down by 2. Hits. It's a 1-point game.
Sanchez is right in the middle of there. Got knocked down on a box out on a free throw.
Kevin Lyde goes to the bench, replaced by Lamont Barnes. Lane with a chance to tie.
Barnes a better scorer with 9 points a game. John Chaney winning that at the offensive end.
54 apiece. 1:48 left. Second half here in Buffalo.
Yeah, we talked about the West bracket, so turbulent. This one, you know, with UCLA a 6, but other than that, the top
6
seeds
playing like a 1.
Yeah, really. UCLA and Iowa State will be matched up Thursday. Michigan State against Syracuse. Good regional coming to Auburn Hills. An hour's drive away from East Lansing.
Earl Watson yesterday really put on some kind of show. Shooting, ball handling, defense, leadership. Incredible.
Set an UCLA assist mark for a game.
Right. Jerron Rush and Watson been playing with each other for a long time. I think he threw one of those lob passes from beyond half court right on the money for Rush to put it away.
Ted Dupay out of Fort Myers, Florida.
Young man has a rotator cuff problem. You got to give him a lot of credit for playing with that. Jim will be operated on at the end of the season.
You know what's unique? He grows up in Florida. Billy Donovan grows up out on Long Island. They play for the same high school coach.
Yep.
Frank Morris.
Probably gives you a pretty good in to recruit somebody, huh?
I would think it doesn't hurt.
Hey, coach, tell him what kind of guy I was and how you'd like to play for me.
Ask Billy D, the most influential people in his life for basketball. He said, number 1, my dad, who was a great player at Boston College. Number 2, Frank Morris, and number 3, Rick Pitino, and all 3 equally. Not rating them 1, 2, 3, but those were the 3. Temple and Seton Hall are tied in the last 2 minutes.
Tradition unlike any other, the Masters on CBS Sports.
All tied up 54 apiece with 1:48 left on the clock. 3-point shooting has kept Seton Hall in this game as we take a look at the game summary. And now a look at the East here in Buffalo. Oklahoma State, the 3 seed, has already advanced with a win over Pepperdine. And the rest of the East, Winston-Salem, Florida, Illinois, Duke, and Kansas. Iron Eagle, Jim Spinarkle here in Buffalo. The higher seeds in this tournament not safe, and we might find ourselves in that situation here today in Buffalo.
And the beauty of the whole tournament this year so far has been all these teams have jockeyed around for positioning all season long. The seeds come out, everybody's talking about 1s and 2s and 3s, and guess what? Games like this really make it all meaningless, which is really the fun of the NCAA tournament.
Sanchez for Greer. Inside. Karcher facing Morton. Shot clock is at 15. Karcher fighting for possession.
Morton pretty active defensively.
On a dump down, pass outside. Greer with 8 to shoot. Penetration, floater. Can't get it. The slam follow doesn't go for Lamont Barnes.
D'Alembert was there again to at least force the hurry.
And Shine is fouled by Sanchez.
And that's not one that Sanchez wanted, obviously.
Ty Shine is headed to the free throw line.
Look at D'Alembert jumps. That's why the big fella there. Barnes has a lineup for it. D'Alembert jumps, opens up the seam offensively, just throws it past the rim.
And number 4 on Pepe Sanchez, the Atlantic 10 Player of the Year.
Both of these teams about dead even on the season also from the free throw line. 68% for Seton Hall, 67%.
A big 1-and-1. Oh, Shine connects on the first. Seton Hall up by 1. Ty Shine stepping in for the injured Shaheen Holloway, the sophomore. Having the game of his college career, and he comes up short on the second.
Good rebound there by Karcher, clearing the glass. It's a simple thing, but so important.
1 minute to play, second half. Seton Hall up by 1. Out on the perimeter, Sanchez, 15 to shoot. Here's Karcher. Had the hot hand in the first half. He'll stroke it over Morton. No good. But Barnes clears it. Greer can't hit the 3.
Great
Knocked
tip
up
out.
in the air. And Lane is fouled.
I think it was D'Alembert in there who tipped the basketball out. A lot of traffic down low. Temple getting their opportunities. There's the tip. Here comes the foul. I believe that's Sanchez also.
Pepe Sanchez. 5th personal foul. 2 points. 6 assists. And now on the bench for the final 37 seconds. Could that be his final action as a collegiate player? His team is trailing by 1, and Lane is headed to the free throw line. Seton Hall is in the double bonus.
Lane right around, as you see, 67% for the season.
First one. Buries it.
Keep in mind, this guy has a shooter's mentality. I mean, he could be shooting from the floor and be 0 for 10, and his next shot he thinks is his first. That would be comfortable right there for him.
Second attempt. He did not graze the rim on either. 57-54 Pirates. A timeout with 37 seconds left in Buffalo.
This team, Jim, is he does not occupy the ball a lot, and he does an excellent job in regard to assist-turnover ratio. They really have guys in the backcourt that are scoring mentality. Teddy Dupay's a scorer mentality. So Hamilton comes in the game, plays 15 minutes, 40 assists, only 27 turnovers.
Greg Gumbel in New York. We'll get you back to Florida, Illinois, but in Buffalo, Temple hoping to avoid
13. That's it. Illinois, it's been kind of on that.
Game reset. 37 seconds to play. You see the team fouls. Both teams from here out will be in the double bonus. Timeout situation, 2 apiece. Possession arrow favors Temple, but Shaheen Holloway cannot play because of an injured left ankle. And Juan Pepe Sanchez cannot play because he just picked up his 5th foul.
And you look at the situation right now. 37 seconds left on the clock, 35 on the shot clock. Temple, in my estimation, should try to get a bucket here. Not 3, but go for the bucket and go to the basket, because Seton Hall, the guys on the floor, are not great free throw shooters except for Caucanis.
Temple down by 3. 2-second difference, shot clock to game clock. Karcher, a 3. Yes!
What an answer! What an answer!
57 apiece. 24.7 left to play. A timeout.
SEC, then Auburn, 14 points, 11 rebounds, and then, as you said, Jim, 16 and 13 the other night. Very solid.
17 and 9 today.
Yep. Could be another double-double for him.
And now they have the largest lead of the day, the Gators, 15. Williams makes it 13. So just can't penetrate that 12, 13-point margin.
We are all tied up, and Temple really has answered. Karcher just sizes one up. Lane with a hand in his face. Nothing but money.
24 points for Karcher, 6 of 12 from 3-point range. The Temple bench reacts accordingly. All knotted up. 57-57, 24.7 left.
A situation right now where Seton Hall can just sit on it. The thought process being that from the Seton Hall perspective, the worst thing that can happen if you don't turn it over, you go into overtime.
Shot clock turned off. 10 seconds.
They'll want to shoot this right around the 3-second mark if they can.
Here's Shine on a spin. Shine looks for an open man. Finds Wilkins for the upset. We're going to overtime.
Ty Shine found himself up against a wall, spun out of it. Oh, does Temple ever duck one there?
Kevin Wilkins with a chance to win it at the end of regulation. Instead, it's OT. Seton Hall going the extra session for the 2nd consecutive game.